Welcome to the Full Experience, a Cordkillers production which attempts to encapsulate the important feelings, the important drama of watching a television show while only watching 4 episodes. The first, the ultimate, the lowest, and the last. We watch it at its best. We watch it at its worst. We watch it at the beginning. We watch it at the end to see if we can get a sense without having to watch the entire series from beginning to end. This week, we are watching A Chip Driver Mystery, Season 4, Episode 6 of The Good Place. This is the lowest rated episode of The Good Place. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Hey, man. So I have theories. I have theories on why this is the lowest rated, but I'm going to withhold them because I don't want to corrupt your hot takes. But I will say that a lot happened. Like, in terms of the full experience, we got the first episode, we got the conceit, we understand, okay, it's the good place, it's the afterlife. Then we had, I don't have to give a spoiler alert. This is the full experience. Yeah. We find out that the good place is the bad place, all of which I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great. Man, oh man, this lowest episode suddenly, like, first of all, the first 5 minutes or first, 50 seconds, like, quite literally, the writing on this show is so built for the casual drop-in, drop-out audience where the dialogue is like, well, hello, bad Janet. Oh, there's a bad Janet. I've kept you in prison for these 6 months. Oh, I guess you kept you while the humans have been testing to see how good they are. Well, I guess I got that all cleared up. Now I have something to tell you. Is it this thing that is a joke, but also fills in the audience on the last bit of info they need? Now they're all caught up. Yes, it is. And then,
I feel like the only gap in that is why we have 4 other people and why our heroes who, when last we saw them on the full experience, had just had their brains wiped and we're starting over again, why they're in control of the experiment. We didn't get that intervening material, but you can kind of pick up what's going on, that, okay, there's some kind of score system was referenced, and I guess they're trying to prove that humans can be good. And now Michael is on their side somehow. That must have happened, but that's about it. That's the only stuff that was left in the gap.
Yeah. So what did you think of this episode, Tom?
It was slow. It was the frame story with Bad Janet that really made it awkward. I kept wondering why we were going back to that. And while it was helpful, like you said at the beginning, to be like, here's what's happened without showing you here's what's happened. It did feel like almost like I was watching a clip show, even though I know I'm not watching a clip show. So I didn't love the way they framed the story, and the story itself didn't feel like enough for an entire episode.
Yes. Also, I didn't have a good time watching this episode.
Because of the topic, because it really only has one plot point, which is what's his face has written a horrible book, and he's also insensitive, but no one will, try to be empathetic towards him. And we're trying to get him to realize what he's done wrong, trying to get everybody to be a little more forgiving so that he has the space to realize that, and none of that happens.
So I remember when I was watching it, kind of like thinking, holy moly, these guys are just having a really good time creating and building up the heel, this love to hate him character. Now, with a little bit of distance between me and when this first came out, Tom, this is a thinly, we've talked about how this show does a fair bit of writer's room chatter, a bunch of lines that work at 2 levels, both within the show and in a meta, hey, we're the writer's room telling you our opinions about writing people things, which is why this episode was bad, is because it stank of the writer's room wanting to scream at Donald Trump and they're paying lip service to what a good person would do, but they're also winking and saying, but we hate him so much that even our protagonists can't handle how awful this gross man who definitely is Mr. Trump or the President Trump is. And as a result, it just, for a show that in so many other topics, they go out of their way to figure out the right amount of redeeming qualities in every character. Yes, Jason dies a criminal and an idiot, but you can top spin that with a little bit of his redeeming innocence, right? With Eleanor, she's selfish and short-sighted, but a little bit of top spin of clearly painful child of divorced parents. Tahani in the shadow of, and. This guy, I had forgotten was even in this. I forgot that the chip driver mystery was like,
oh, right. I forgot all four of those new characters were ever in this.
Yeah, right. And so I don't remember how they eventually write his redemption arc, but it is stark and staggering to me that they would deny even an ounce of topspin to make him on the middle ground here. And it just reeked of being very late Trump term, angry writer's room to me.
Would you do I am going to ask you a question that there's no possible way for you to give an accurate answer. Do you think you would have felt the same way if we watched this a year ago instead of right now?
I don't know. And you know what? I might have not even seen it. I might not have even noticed it. You said what? How many months ago?
A year ago, right?
A year ago,
before the primaries, before the election. Well,
I'll tell you what. I did not notice that it was definitely a Donald Trump dunk session at the time it came out, and I saw it the first time. I'm like,
in 2019, it came out in 2019. So during the president's first term. Yeah.
Right. And so I didn't see it. It just seemed like, oh, this is the walking personification of what everybody being hysterical online is angry, raging about. Okay, that makes sense. But now it's very clear. And there's even some of those double entendre writer's room lines in there that I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, it's definitely this.
I asked that because, and this says more about me than anything, I didn't think of that when watching this.
It bubbled up and surprised me too. I mean, I almost didn't see it.
I thought Brent I was like, wow, even 6 years ago, we were talking about this toxic masculine character on the internet. That's what I was thinking, is like, oh, we are talking about the people on the internet who dig in their heels and say, well, why should I apologize for being who I am? And yes, he's a cartoon character version of that, but he's being that. And then our other character, Simone, is being the other people on the internet who refuse to actually believe that there could be any good in Brent, and don't want to do the right thing, don't want to be the better person. And this is, yes, now that you say it, I'm like, well, of course, this is parallels of 2016 being written in 2019, but it has played out beyond individuals to me. Like, I see these conversations that they were having all the time happening on the internet, and I didn't once think it was targeted towards politics. Again, I think that has more to say about me and what information I consume than the fact that the writer's room did or did not intend it. Because once you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably what they were doing. But I still think it works as a more general, like, there are folks on the internet saying Brent things, and then this is how the Simones of the world react. And the show is trying to say, are you trying to be better? That's what counts. Yeah. Whether you're Simone or Brent. And in the end, even though I didn't love this episode much, I really liked that message, which is humanity deserves credit when it tries to be better, not when it's perfect, as much as it does to Simone.
I'm not in the business of telling the writers of the show what they should be doing or have done, but I will say that I would have liked this more if they had written Simone as less right or overcompensating or flawed.
Less right?
Clearly,
I didn't, because I really did. I thought Simone was clearly in the wrong, and that's what Eleanor was like. Now you've taken it too far.
I feel like again, I guess we can use a points-based system since that's what this show's all about.
Literally what they're doing. Yeah.
I felt like they if we're it was negative 1,000,000 points on the Brent side, and like it was the difference between a mortal and a venal sin. They're all like, Simone, yeah, I guess she sinned too, for being too right and just a little bit human. I guess that's pretty bad. And
see, I got it that they encouraged Simone to give him a break. They said Brent probably, it doesn't realize, but let's help him realize. And then we see Brent and Simone both dig in their heels and say, well, if you're not going to forgive me, then I'm not going to admit I was wrong. And then Simone saying like, well, you aren't forgivable and you should know better. And to me, it felt equal. It felt like, oh yeah, they're both being irrational and unforgiving.
Yeah. P. Guyton says that the episode has a swear word in the good place. I thought I heard the F word as well, P. Guyton, but
no.
since I watch with the subtitles on, it definitely was a sloppily pronounced fork. Like I went back.
I thought P. Guyton was referring to bench, which was also said so quickly that I thought they actually said bitch instead of bench.
And Eleanor self-censors and says F that at some point.
Yeah.
And so, but they definitely are flirting, and I think they are getting away with it. I bet that there was some discussion, or maybe naturally everybody knew it, because there is kind of a sense of the edges fraying, of a bit of decay of the hard and fast rules within that. Probably doesn't hurt that they know they're in. Some of them know they're in the bad place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bitch. That's what it was.
It was weird to me that Jason was still a secret. that they brought that back
to that gossip hound guy.
Yeah.
I had to, but I guess, you know what? In the full experience, we would know that there's some amount of rebooting happening because that's what they set up.
Because that's what they said at the end of the last episode we watched.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say not the best example, but if we're doing the test of if you've done the full experience, have you pretty much watched the series? I'd say we're still on track.
Yeah. And P. Guyton says it was the bench that he thought was bitch. So I thought so at first too, but then when I thought back, I'm like, it was kind of maybe on the line, I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, like they could get past the broadcast censors with that word. They would be fine. It was the internal rules of the good place that would have been violated if that sneaked through. Also, I had to note there was an Elon Musk dig back in 2019 before it was fashionable.
Way before. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
as a matter of fact, there are
well.
multiple. In fact, long before the Cybertruck even started shipping, remember in the bad place, they go to Bad Janet's place, and there's a giant billboard for a Cybertruck. That's all they had, was a billboard for a Cybertruck.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't remember that. All right. So in the end, I liked the message. I liked that they made it look like these people are bad. But Michael was able to say, however, they tried. In the end, they tried. They tried to be better, and that's what counts, is trying. I very much believe that. And so it's, playing to my priors to be like, oh yeah, that's what I think too. Not the best episode. And I definitely checked to see how much longer I had to watch a couple of times. What about you?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it was at the 14-minute mark that I never wiggle the mouse on, usually on these shows, but I definitely wiggled the mouse. Might have given myself a coupon to watch at 1 1/4, 1.5 speed.
Okay.
I don't think I missed anything.
no, you didn't skip. You just accelerated. That's all.
Yes. No, I spared myself the I have to wait for them to do the whole joke, aren't I?
Okay. Well, the last episode, the finale, which is also highly rated. In fact, when you squint on IMDb, it's a tie with Michael's Gambit. But I think in the actual like sorting where it looks at all the decimal places, it's second, is episode 13 of season 4, Whenever You're Ready, which aired January 30th, 2020. What an interesting time. January 30th, 2020 was, but that's when we watched the finale, Whenever You're Ready, for the first time. And that's what we will watch for the final episode of the full experience on The Good Place next time. You get these episodes early if you are a patron. So go check them out at patreon.com/Cordkillers, and we will deliver that final episode next time.